Thanks, guys. Joining me is former LSU national champion Jacob Hester in the right outside the LSU locker room. And Jacob, obviously, this is not how LSU intended its season to start. Just a very difficult day. Had the lead late, gave it up in the fourth quarter, and just couldn't come back for the victory.
Yeah, obviously LSU is going to be disappointed. This game kind of reminded everybody of the 2014 Wisconsin game. They got down early, made a little run there at the end. That game they were able to win. They ran out of time in this game. Wisconsin played sound football. You got to give them credit. They didn't make the mistakes. They did their assignments well, and LSU had some leaks on the offensive line in different areas.
How surprised were you at the fact that, there's been over 200 days or whatever since LSU last played around the first of the year, and it just seemed like we didn't see Brandon Harris take a step forward in that time in the spring and summer?
Yeah, there was still plays where he looked uncomfortable, and that's what they've been working on, is getting Brandon Harris comfortable in the pocket, doing different things. He got in the game, and he looked at times like he was uncomfortable, like he wasn't maybe sure what routes were being run or different looks and different reads. And so it's a tough day for LSU. I know Brandon Harris is going to be disappointed because they have worked all spring and summer on this passing game that they said was going to be better, and it didn't show today.
It seemed to me that the tone was set in the first when LSU got the football in the first possession, and on 3rd and 3, they run a quarterback no pass option draw. To me, that says don't really have confidence in my quarterback, and that's troubling the first series of the year.
That was the thing coming into this year. On those 3rd and shorts, those 3rd and 4s and 5s, were they going to let Brandon Harris be free, or were they going to run Fournette or run Harris and live to punt the ball and play defense? It seems like the game plan was to be safe at first, let the defense play, because the defense played a pretty good game. They were on the field a long time. At one point, it was 20 minutes to 4 minutes on time of possession. The defense was out there. They were exhausted, but they still played a really good game, kept them in the game.
You played for Les Miles. You know Coach very well, have a great relationship with him. His body language in the post-game press conference, in doing this all these years, to me, he looked down and defeated more than I think I've ever seen him before.
I would agree with that. I've never seen Coach Miles maybe be disappointed. You can see it in his body language. Even after losses, you've still seen the same Les Miles, the same vibrant, loud Coach Miles. The body language in there tells me that he's extremely disappointed. I think they expected to come out today, play sound football, and win this football game, and none of those things happened.
From a positive standpoint, what did you see that impressed you today out of LSU? Was there a player, was there a time in the ball game where something surprised you in a good way?
Well, I think the defense showed up. I think especially the defensive backs. You look at Tre'Davious White, he had a heck of a ball game. You look at even Ricky Jefferson, who at times last year struggled. I think he's better this year. I think he's playing as a senior leader. And so the defensive backs, I think they're impressive. You know what you're going to get with Jamal Adams, Kendall Beck, with those guys. But I think some guys like Jefferson stepped up and played good. Now, offensively on the offensive line, I think they need to find 5 guys and maybe stick with them and kind of get in a groove of things. They kind of shuffled around, and I think next week you'll see the same 5 guys probably the entire game.
How funny is it that Leonard Fournette rushes for over 160 yards in the ball game, and it seems as if he didn't have a good game. But was he healthy in your opinion?
At times it looked like Leonard might have been a little sore on the injury he had in training camp, but, Leonard's sore and Leonard banged up's better than most running backs in the country, and he's become Superman. He has 160 yards, and you're kind of like, oh, that's a mediocre game, because he has set those standards so high that we're expecting 220 yards. He still had a heck of a ball game today. He's one of the reasons LSU was in it at the end.
Brandon Harris, where does he go from here? And do you think that a performance like today and a loss maybe opens up the quarterback battle a little bit?
There's obviously going to be talks in Baton Rouge, but for Brandon Harris, he just got to get comfortable. You try to take next week, and you come out and you get Brandon Harris comfortable more than anything. You're playing Jacksonville State, a team that almost beat Auburn last year, so they're not a cupcake, but you still got to go out there and get Brandon Harris comfortable. Let him throw the football around. Let him complete some passes and get some confidence back.
Finally, they lose the first game of the year. That's something LSU doesn't lose a lot of non-conference games in a long time. But in essence, there's still the goals in front of them. They can still win an SEC championship and play for a national championship.
Oh, absolutely. In college football, if you lose early, that's really not a bad thing, because you can play catch-up. Look, we won the national championship in 2007. We lost 2 games and lost the last game of the year and still found a way to get in there. Same thing in 2003. LSU lost and found a way to get in the championship. So there's still time. LSU still has so many games in front of them that can jump them in the polls, but they got to come out and play better, sound football.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. We'll hear more from Jacob Hester next week on the LSU pre- and post-game show right here on CST. For now, let's go back to the Louisiana Cat Studios.